to know what's going on here. And what's going on, we getting bigger and bigger, we getting better and better. And we are shitting turds on any and everybody who said we aren't who we are. Listen, Lions, I went live yesterday morning for episode 7 of my live series. I also gave y'all 2 more additional lives where we just talked about random things. I made a PSA to clear certain things up with certain delusional people. I also came on here and I just talked with y'all. Now we're about to get into episode 8. Episode 8 of my live series. Listen, after I do these 36 episodes, I own up to myself, to my truth, everything that I've been through and everything like that. I think I'm going to take a break from just going live on YouTube, social media, and all those different type of things. And I'm going to really, hone in more on working on my album. I've been moving a little slack. I'm not going to lie. I haven't really been moving slack, but, you can always get better and better and bigger and bigger. Give me 1 second. So here we are with episode 8 of my live series, my college years. We're piggybacking off of high school. Before I say anything else, if y'all hear the a lawnmower outside, it's the gardener's day to do the yard. So if y'all hear that, I apologize. So that is that. Now, we're piggybacking in this episode. We're piggybacking off of episode 7, which was me talking about my high school years, and piggyback episode 6, which was me talking about my middle school years. Okay, so 2018, I graduated high school early. I went to college that summer, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a very great time for me. I went to college August 10th, 2018. It was a day after I turned 17 years old. I was in marching band and stuff like that, at the college. Band in college is very different from marching band in high school. It's not competitive based. It's not really, as serious. It's just really, something that you just do to have fun and, you show up or whatever. So, when I went to college, I think I was the heaviest I had ever been. I came off of because the summer of 2018, I won a singing competition. So right before I went to college, I won a singing competition the summer of 2018. So coming down from the singing competition high that I had or whatever, I went to college. So I'm about 300 pounds when I first went to college. Now don't get me wrong, I went to a PWI, predominantly white school. I went to Limestone College, which was turned into Limestone University, which got shut down like 2-3 years ago. So in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't get a degree from them, because years later the school got unaccredited and they, blah, 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 blah. So went to college. I was 17 years old. I hadn't really had freedom. My parents kept me in the house all my life. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like how it is on the movies where you just go buck wild. But, I was about to live life a little bit. I had graduated high school early to get away from my family. So, me going to college was great. I remember my first semester there, the academics weren't a big problem, but it's just that, I guess for me at that time, when you are bigger and stuff, you're not going to really go out, or do certain things. Like I always felt like an outcast, if I'm being honest. Like I always felt like the beginning part of my life, like from about up until like 2020, until I started making music, I always felt outcast, whether it be in school, friend groups, dynamics. I just always felt like I didn't belong. So I remember one semester, this either had to be the second semester or the first semester, came up to me. And because listen, I was only in college for 2 semesters. I flunked out, not because I was a dummy, but because I started partying and all that other stuff like that. So I met this girl. Her name was Anastasia, and she had a friend named Kiki. And like they kind of like, I remember they were in my pod one day, like because the college I went to, we had pods, and they were like, I want to be friends with you. And I was like, I don't know about all that. Like, I don't really have friends. I don't do friends or anything like that, And they was like, no, I want to be friends with you. And I remember they forced themselves in my room, and we became close friends, And when you go to college, if you're wild like me, because I give college, like wild college life, you know what I mean? So I started like popping like ecstasy and like Adderall and a bunch of different other things, like, just living life in college. Now I told you I was about 300 pounds. Once I got to the second semester of college, when I came back home, I was like small, from having fun, partying, all those different type of things. I think the reason why I partied so hard is because my parents probably did keep me, put up. And it's not like I was put up, but it's like they didn't let me experience anything. I couldn't have friends, I couldn't have this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't do anything. So, I think that's why college for me was, very experimental. Now, don't get me wrong, I had fun. College was fun as hell. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you let society tell it, you let people tell you, I kind of went off course, but no, I didn't go off course because it wasn't meant for me to become a teacher. I think another thing, my family forced me all my life. What I heard growing up was what everybody else thought what was best for me, what everybody else felt like was good for me. Mason, I think you should do this. Mason, I think you should do that. What about what Mason wants for myself? What about what I want for myself? What's up, Chris? What about what I want for myself? So that's one thing that I can say. I'm glad I kind of did. And let me be honest, I didn't flunk out of college. If I'm being real, my parents just stopped paying for my tuition. That's another thing. My mother and my stepfather, like with my siblings, my younger siblings, they could have anything in the world. They could have anything in the world. Everything that I've had, from cars to houses, I paid for myself. My younger siblings, they get everything. It's really weird because I remember my mama telling me, when the school was like, when Limestone was like, you got accepted or whatever, my mom was like, if you don't find the money, you're not going to school. It's like with me, it was always they tried to stop me or block me or, just different stuff like that, or, well, Mason, if you can't find the money, well, Mason, well, it was always this attitude with me, I don't care. Well, like just, so, that's that, now, don't get me wrong. If I could go back to college now, I mean, I could go back to college now. I could go back to a university right now. I don't want to because my dreams of what I'm doing right now are becoming my reality. But I would be a hot boy. I would be lit. I'm trying to they don't even know. I would be tearing the college campus up. I would be tearing the college campus up if I was to go back right now. I'm telling y'all, I'll be like a BC student, but I know for a fact. Look at how I look now. I'll be tearing the college dorms up. I'm not playing. I'm for real. So, college was a very much like experimental time too. College was also the time in my life where I felt like I had my first set of my first friend group or whatever, or people that I met, because I did have about three good friends. I'm going to name them. Their name was Anna, Kiki, and John. They all were from the lower part of South Carolina. Seneca, I think they were from Seneca. I'm pretty sure Anna is still subscribed to my YouTube today because she popped up a couple weeks ago. What's up, XXXXXX? What's up? She popped up a couple weeks ago and she was like, "Hey, Mason." So shout out to you, Anna. Shout out to John. Shout out to Kiki. Even though she had a nasty attitude, me and Kiki used to get into arguments all the time. So shout out to Kiki. College. I remember, I'm gonna tell y'all some stories about in college. Let me think. I remember one day, in college you don't have any money. You're eating ramen noodles every day. You don't have any money or nothing like that. So I hit my aunt up, and she lives in Virginia, and I was like, Aunt Pinky, me and my friends about to come up there. Why me and my friends drove up to Virginia 8 hours away on $50? I'm just thinking back to it, like me and my friend John, the guy, because it was like two girls and two guys. We get in Virginia, we're on our hot boy ish. You know what I'm saying? We in Virginia, we on our hot boy ish. We doing like I don't know. College was just such a fun time for me. College was just such a fun time for me. But why? I just think back to like if I could talk to them, like why did we do that? Why did we go up there with no money? Like me and John. Now don't get me wrong. Y'all done been on a 2-man before, so don't lie. What's up, cuz? Who is KD? Who is that? But yeah, but what's up, though, cuz? Y'all done been on a 2-man before. College was just my first little bit of experiences. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really fully start like having sex or doing that until I was like, like, I'm gonna be honest, like 17, 18, 19. I didn't really have sex until I was about 17, 18, 19. So, like that's where college kind of opened the doors up for me. And, people can say what they want to say about how they treat big people or whatever. Fat people be getting love too. You know what I mean? Listen, because I'm not big anymore, but fat people do be getting love. Like I was getting love. It just, people was loving me in the quiet. People was loving me in the quiet. But college was a very just figuring it out time, but I'm not gonna lie. At that time when I was in college, I still was DL. Like I'm gonna keep it real. Being DL, I said this in the live before. I told y'all in high school I was DL. In college, being DL is one of the most hardest fucking things. It's hard. Like being DL was too hard for me. Like it was too hard for me, and it's like, yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. If I was more open with my sexuality at that time, I'm pretty sure I probably would have got like more, more play, more niggas, more, because one thing about it is like I used to come off straight, and so to other men who are, that's gonna throw them off because I'm coming off straight. But it's like I'm trying to. I don't want to come off, So I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that, and really just accept myself for who I am. And I'm still learning that to this day. Like, I'm a balance. I'm a balance. Like I'm a balance. I'm not gonna get on here and be too masculine because I mean physically. I'm that guy, you know what I mean? But just personality wise, like, no, I'm gonna just keep it me, I'm gonna keep it me. So college was a great time, but if I could go back and redo anything, like starting back from high school, I would just accept my sexuality from the jump. Like I think back on it, like people would tell me, ooh, like people would try to, like, because I wasn't just overly feminine, but like when I did do feminine things, people felt the need to like speak on it. Like, oh, why you do your hand like that? Oh, why you do that? Like, shut the fuck up. If I could go back in time, I really would just be myself from the jump because what I've learned because of experience and because of, what has played out for real. The dudes that was like, why you doing your hand like that? Those was the dudes that was wanting me. Those were the dudes that was wanting me. But I didn't know that. Because I'm thinking when they rude to you, oh, they just don't. I gotta stop being gay. Like I gotta stop being sweet. Like I gotta cut this out, But as time went on, I learned, damn, that nigga liked me. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. But I didn't know it because of how conflicting people are. You know what I mean? And I think like, college also taught me that. So that's the first semester. That's the first semester. Let's go back. Let's go back. Because I want to talk to y'all about the second semester. The first semester is everything that I told y'all about, right there. So the second semester, which is 2019, okay? So 2019, I got in this Christian program in college. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're white, forgive me, but I have to say this. It was this white man, and he was the owner of it or whatever. But like he had only people that was really in the program was a bunch of Africans. Like they were from Africa. So my second semester of college, I moved out of the dorm and I moved into like this little house. It was a house on the campus. And I had joined this Christian program. I can't remember what it was. And I lived with a bunch of African men. Okay. So I'm in the house, I'm living with them or whatever. And, in America, this is what in America, if you leave food on the table, I'm thinking that's for everybody, I'm thinking that's for everybody. So, it was one of my first couple nights in the house or whatever. And one of the Africans, his name was Vincent. Shout out to you, Vincent. And Vincent, if you ever come across this, shout out to you. I hope you're doing well. So his name was Vincent. And Vincent, he had made some chicken. And he put the chicken up high on the little, like it was like a little TV vanity thing. He put it up there to let it cool off. So me, the pothead I was, I'm coming in. Mind you, this is a Christian house, so I'm such a rebel. Like, why am I even smelling like weed coming in here? But I didn't care. So like, I see the chicken up there. I'm like, damn, this must be for everybody because it got to be for everybody. So I grab a piece of chicken. I either grab one or two pieces of chicken off of there, and I wake up in the middle of the night to a group chat. And they're like, yes, brother, whoever ate the chicken is like, it's the way they was going on about this chicken. The way they was going on about this chicken was like, you would have thought I would have stole some money. You know what I mean? You would have thought you would have thought that I stole some money from them. So, the second semester I did live with a bunch of African men. I lived with a bunch of African men in college. It was one of them in there. His name was Cliff. Cliff was like he did something. Cliff, if you ever see this, you can call me anytime, Cliff. You can call me anytime, Cliff. Anytime you can call me. So yeah, we also had another one in there. His name was Michael. He was from like another country in Africa. We had Vincent, Michael, Cliff, and then we had another. My roommate, he was American though. He actually was a preacher's kid. So yeah, that was a little too much. But yeah, I remember the second semester of me living in that house. That's kind of like when I found out about Billie Eilish, and I started making like covers, cover songs and stuff like that. Looking back on it now, it's like that's where all this started from, like those moments right there. Like me damn, I'm stuttering. Me being in the backyard of that house, you can pretend you don't miss me. You can pretend you don't care. Just figuring out, that was when Billie Eilish was in her what was that song? Got a bellyache. That whole bellyache party next door vibe. That's when I first figured out about like pop culture, or like me wanting to be an artist and me just everything like that. Billie Eilish was really honestly the source of that, like starting that out for me. Me being in college, because I had nothing but time. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was recording YouTube videos back in 2019. I just posted them. I have this song that I recorded back in 2019 in that house, in the same house I'm talking about. It was my first song that I ever wrote. I'm trying to think about it, trying to think about the lyrics. Call out loud and proud my name, baby. Yeah. Shout a sound so profound, ain't been around lately. So I still have that song. I did it in like 2019. I went through this whole little phase of like, this is when Megan Thee Stallion first came out. Like, this is when, I'm a big old freak. Like, because I remember this moment in my life. I remember that moment in my life. I was in college, I was working on my art, doing what I was doing, and it just so happened, it's crazy that the next year I met a friend. That's how I know this is meant for me. The next year I met a friend who we were friends back in the day, and he knew a friend who had music out. And I then, I got on Apple Music. So it's crazy, like 2019, 2018, I won that talent show. 2019, I think I like during the summer, I made like a little video or something about global economic health or some shit like that. And I posted on Facebook, and it went viral in my city. 2020, I met that friend again, and I started making music and putting it on Apple Music. 2021, it's just like everything makes sense. 2022, I put out a TV show, and 4 hours, it's just making sense. It's all making sense from 2018 to now. College was really the fundamental roots of. And let me not say it like this. It wasn't the schoolwork, because I wasn't doing any of that. It was more so the experience that I had, me learning myself, me coming into myself and stuff like that. You don't have to go get a degree to be successful. You don't need a degree to be successful. All you need is you to be successful. And I'm a living witness to that. Because if I had got that degree from that university, a teaching degree like I was going to get, it would be unaccredited right now, because the university is what unaccredited. So don't ever think that you got to follow the typical path to success. Follow your path and follow what's true to you. Because a couple years ago, if my family, this is what I wanted to do, and I left college for that, they would look at me like I'm crazy, but it's all paying off for me. So it really doesn't matter. Listen, Lions, y'all have to, let me get my notebook right quick. My journal. Let me see. So I can tell y'all about what we're talking about tomorrow. Oh, but so I think I want to move all the episodes to 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. So 10:30 in the morning every day for the next 28 episodes. We're gonna go live in the morning. I don't want to do any nighttime specials. So the next thing we're gonna talk about, episode tomorrow at 10:30 tomorrow morning, is Dear Former Fat Boy. That's for me, for my past self. I want to talk about things that I went through being big and all those different type of things like that. And one thing I had to tell myself, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow morning, is that I was not a big adult. I wasn't a big adult. I wasn't a fat adult. I was a fat child. So it's like, in all actuality, when I tell people like, oh yeah, I used to be big, it doesn't really count, because I wasn't a fat ass adult. I was a fat child. So it's like, I had to remember that. But listen, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. for episode 9, Dear Former Fat Boy. It's your boy, Mason Jyree. I love you, Lions. Keep it hot. Keep it spicy. Listen, if you have not streamed Digger, if you have not streamed Ain't No Lover Boy FR, if you are not getting into Mason Jyree, I need for you to get into Mason Jyree. I need for you to Google me. I need for you to do everything that you need to do. Listen, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Once again, it's your boy, Mason Jyree, 10:30 a.m. sharp. Let's talk. Episode 9.